artificial intelligence, and the hidden code in the Holy Shroud of Turin. When science faces the unexplainable. Imagine this scene. Inside a colossal supercomputer, lines of code are racing, and artificial intelligence algorithms are scanning millions of data points extracted from an ancient linen cloth. AI is not looking at a face, not analyzing bloodstains or dirt. It digs deep into each fiber, searching for invisible patterns hidden within the microscopic structure of the cloth. Then suddenly the system stops. It has found something unusual, a form of mathematical symmetry, repeating over and over a highly sophisticated order encoded right into the threads. It does not resemble anything a medieval artisan could have created, nor does it match any known natural process that modern science can explain. And the object lying under this digital microscope is the Shroud of Turin, one of the most controversial artifacts in the history of religion and science. Has artificial intelligence just discovered a kind of hidden code within the cloth that many believe once wrapped the body of Jesus after his crucifixion? Or is it all just a bizarre coincidence? The Shroud of Turin, an artifact that splits belief and skepticism. The Shroud of Turin is a linen cloth about 4.4 meters long and over a meter wide, bearing a faint image of a man who appears to have endured brutal torture marks resembling scourging, circular wounds like those made by thorns, injuries to the hands, feet, and side. To many Christians, this is the burial shroud of Jesus, a sacred relic, a tangible trace of the Passion. To skeptics, it is nothing more than a sophisticated medieval forgery created to attract pilgrims. Humanity has set foot on the moon. We have decoded the human genome, and yet to this day we still cannot agree about a piece of cloth. The case closed verdict of 1988. And the ending, that wasn't in 1988. It seemed everything had finally been settled. Church authorities allowed a small sample to be cut from the edge of the cloth, then divided and sent to 3 renowned laboratories in Oxford, Zurich, and Arizona. The method used was radiocarbon dating C14, an extremely precise technique that counts C14 atoms to estimate the age of organic material. The results made the world either sigh with relief or disappointment. The cloth dated to between 1260 and 1390 AD. Newspapers everywhere proclaimed the Turin Shroud is a medieval creation, not from the time of Jesus. For many, the case file was considered closed. But apparently, the shroud did not accept being buried so easily. At the 1898 negative photograph, the first shock. Let's go back to 1898, nearly a century before the C14 tests. An Italian lawyer named Secondo Pia was granted permission to photograph the shroud for the first time. When he developed the plates in his dark room, something incredible appeared. On the photographic negative, the image of the man on the cloth appeared clearly, as if it were a positive image. In other words, the cloth itself behaves like a photographic negative hundreds of years before photography was invented. This forced many people to pause and think, how could a medieval artist create a negative image that when photographed would yield a realistic positive? At a time when the concept of negative photography simply did not exist, and this was only the first mystery, and an image shallow to just a few hundred nanometers later, studies revealed, the image on the shroud only exists on the topmost fibers of the linen, with a depth of no more than a few hundred nanometers. For comparison, a human hair is about 80,000 nanometers thick. There is no trace of ink paint or pigment penetrating deeply into the fibers. No brush strokes, no directional marks. It is as if the linen fibers were lightly chemically altered at the surface, producing a very shallow yellow-brown tone rather than being painted on. Scientists tried burning sculptures, using acids, applying pigments, contact transfer methods. Some experiments managed to partially imitate certain characteristics of the shroud's image, but no method could fully reproduce all of its unique features. Its shallow uniform shows no signs of brushwork, and yet encodes special spatial information. Thus, the shroud encodes 3D data like a body scan. In the 1970s, researchers used the VP-8 image analyzer, a device used by NASA to analyze planetary surface images. When they fed the Shroud image into the device, what happened stunned them. The Shroud's image produced a coherent three-dimensional model of the man's face and body. Darker regions, like the tip of the nose, were understood as being closer. Lighter regions, parts farther away, were interpreted as more distant. In other words, the brightness and darkness of the image directly correspond to the distance from the body. This is not the kind of shading used in paintings to fake 3D. It is actual depth information. From a 2D image on cloth, people could naturally reconstruct a 3D map of the body. This is not a normal property of paintings or photographs. It is a spatial information layer encoded in a remarkably subtle way. Cracks in the 1988 conclusion, the problematic corner. Although the 1988 C14 results seemed solid from the beginning, quite a few experts questioned the sampling location. The sample came from a corner of the cloth, an area that had been touched the most over centuries of display. It was also a region likely to have been repaired, rewoven, or altered after fire damage. The Shroud has survived several disasters, especially the fire of 1532, which scorched and burned holes into it. The nuns at the time meticulously patched the burn holes, sewed the Shroud onto a backing cloth, and the C14 sample area was right near this region. Years later, chemist Raymond Rogers, who had worked with the 1978 research team, obtained tiny remnants of the 1988 sample. Under the microscope, he observed the sample fibers did not match fibers from other areas of the Shroud. There was a layer of plant-based gum, cotton fibers interwoven with the linen, traces of dye. Meanwhile, the main body of the Shroud is pure linen. He concluded the tested sample was very likely from a repaired section of the cloth rewoven in the Middle Ages, not from the original fabric. In simple terms, we tried to date an ancient building by testing fresh plaster from a recent renovation. Of course, the result comes out young. Other studies using vibrational spectroscopy, X-ray analysis, etc., proposed much older dates. Some near 2,000 years ago, even pre-Christian. The problem is these methods have nowhere near the level of consensus that C14 does, so the debate continues. An artificial intelligence enters and flips the question around, while arguments over the cloth's age remained unresolved. AI entered the scene. Researchers took ultra-high-resolution scans of the Shroud, fed them into neural networks, and gave the AI no religious context and no assumptions. The sole instruction: find patterns and hidden structures in this image data. The results were so startling that even the scientists themselves were unsettled. AI found that the Shroud's image is not just a picture, but resembles a data set encoded with extraordinary sophistication. Subtle yet consistent geometric symmetries, recurring mathematical ratios across the face, hands, and torso. An underlying order that is unlikely to be random. It is as if we accidentally discovered an invisible watermark, a technical blueprint, engraved into the fabric structure. More importantly, these structures do not depend on the age of the cloth, but on how the image was formed. AI did not prove whether the cloth is old or medieval. What it said was, whether medieval or ancient, the way this image was created is far from ordinary. A strange physical law hidden in brightness and shadow, using tools like principal component analysis, PCA, and noise filters AI, gradually stripped away the human figure, the part we normally see. Instead, it saw a pure field of information. The distribution of light and dark is not random. It follows a consistent mathematical rule, as if governed by some kind of physical law. Imagine a body lying in space and some form of energy emitted from it, acting on a cloth placed a short distance away. Where the cloth is closer to the body, the signal is stronger. The image is darker. Where the cloth is farther, the signal is weaker. The image is lighter. AI showed that this relationship holds across the entire Shroud with astonishing coherence. This is not how light and shadow behave in ordinary painting or photography, where artists intentionally shade to create the illusion of depth. Here, the shroud is not faking depth, it is encoding actual depth data. For a medieval person to produce this by hand, they would have to be a master painter, a mathematical genius, an expert in spatial physics, and able to work at a microscopic scale on fabric fibers. It sounds almost impossible. A hidden geometric harmony, like a music score in the body's structure. I also discovered elegant geometric proportions, the distance between the eyes, the proportions of the hands, the curvature of the chest, the arrangement of key points on the face and body. All of these relate through repeating ratios like a kind of geometric harmony. As in music, certain notes harmonize beautifully because their frequencies are related by simple, pleasing ratios. Here, the points on the shroud's human body obey harmonious mathematical relationships. To ensure the AI wasn't just seeing what it wanted to see, researchers had the system analyze other ancient textiles and other works of art. Result: no similar structure was found. These geometric scaffolds appear only on the Shroud of Turin, a phenomenon, not just an artifact. From all this data, an uncomfortable conclusion emerges. The Shroud of Turin does not behave like a work of art. It behaves like the outcome of a phenomenon. Several physical hypotheses have been proposed. Corona discharge, a type of electrical discharge around a body that could imprint an image onto cloth at a short distance. Intense UV radiation, a brief but powerful burst of light altering the surface of fibers at the nanometer scale. Some experiments have managed to reproduce the shallow depth of the image or achieve a roughly similar look, but no experiment so far has recreated a shallow image containing full 3D information with hidden geometric patterns that remain stable for hundreds of years. As one physicist put it, the shroud is not just an object, it looks like the outcome of an event. So what exactly is this? With AI revealing a new layer of information, the question, how old is the cloth, suddenly becomes less central. More important is, by what mechanism was this image created? We are left with a few possibilities, each one mind-bending. 1. A medieval forgery using a lost ultra-advanced technique. Someone in the Middle Ages invented a method that could create an image only a few hundred nanometers deep, encode 3D data, embed hidden geometric ratios, long before we understood photography, digital imaging, or nanoscale material science. And that technique later disappeared completely, leaving no trace. 2. A natural phenomenon, not yet identified. Some physical chemical process under very specific conditions produced such an image. It has never been reproduced in the lab or has not been correctly described. 3. The trace of an event beyond our current understanding. This is the interpretation many believers link to the resurrection, a kind of information burst from a human body imprinted onto the cloth. Science cannot prove this, but it also has yet to provide a more convincing alternative.
As a single data stream.
Whichever possibility you choose, one must admit the Shroud of Turin is anything but ordinary. When AI becomes humanity's third eye, for more than a century, humans have examined the shroud with the naked eye, magnifying glasses, microscopes, cameras, image analyzers. Now we are seeing it with the eyes of artificial intelligence. AI has no faith, no religious bias. It does not believe or disbelieve in miracles. It simply receives data, processes it, finds patterns, returns structures, and precisely because of that, what it finds is hard to ignore: mathematical structure, geometric motifs, 3D consistency, an image depth only nanometers thin. If the shroud is a fake, it is a fake that required tools and understanding far beyond what medieval people had. So instead of closing the story, AI has poured fuel on the fire. It has not ended the debate. It has made the debate deeper, tougher, and more fascinating. Science, faith, and unanswered questions. The Shroud of Turin is a perfect example of the fine boundary between science and faith. Science asks, by what mechanism did this form? Can we reproduce it? What does the data say? Faith asks, is this a trace of Christ? Does it bear spiritual meaning? Eye plays a curious role. It does not take sides. It does not confirm the shroud as an authentic relic of Jesus, nor does it support the idea that it's a mere hoax, Eye simply points out. There is order here, a layer of information, a mathematical structure that our current hypotheses do not fully explain. Thus, the story is no longer just, is the shroud real or fake? It becomes, what is the role of information in matter? What phenomena exist that we have not yet named? Might there be other traces in human history we still don't know how to read? One cloth, 2,000 years, and questions for the future. The Shroud of Turin is a strange thing. If it is only a forgery, then it is so sophisticated that it surpasses the capability of the very era to which it is attributed. If it is genuine, in the sense of being linked to the historical Jesus, then it is not just a religious relic, but also one of the greatest challenges science has ever faced in archaeology, material science, and imaging. Artificial intelligence has not deciphered the shroud. Instead, it shows that beneath what the eye can see, there is a deeper layer of information, like a language of which we've only read the first few letters. One day, science may find a complete answer, either proving the shroud to be the product of some lost technique or uncovering a physical, biological phenomenon we currently cannot even imagine. Or perhaps the answer will never be fully complete, and the Shroud of Turin will continue to exist as an open question reminding us that not everything can be neatly closed as a case. Not every mystery is born to be solved, and perhaps it is precisely this unexplained gap that urges us to keep exploring, to keep asking about the universe, about history, about faith, and about ourselves.